Hey, what's up, class? This is your episode 1 of Art of the Sword online. I know that this isn't really what we hoped for the class. Obviously, we probably won't really be able to do our sparring now, which is unfortunate. So we're going to be just kind of reviewing a lot of stuff we've learned over the last few semesters. This is a really good opportunity, though, to maybe grab one of your siblings or maybe even your parents and do this together. There's really no better time than being quarantined and isolated to learn together. I honestly got the inspiration from one of my good friends, Nicholas. He kind of inspired me to try to have fun with the online videos. I was pretty bummed that we weren't going to be able to do class and that we were going to transition to this online thing, but I think I'm going to try to have fun with it. So I'm going to try to have fun with it. I'm going to try to make this learning experience through the online fun for you guys as well. So hopefully we'll have some quirky moments with our learning. This is going to be very, very exponentially educational. You could probably guess what the first thing we're going to go over is. And yes, you definitely are right. Exercise! These are extremely important, to be honest. Not only will exercising make you better as a swordsman or in any martial art, but it's going to make you better in anything. To have a good, balanced workout where you're exercising consistently in your life. And you may wonder, what do you mean anything? And I mean exactly that. Anything. This can help you be a better sibling, a better brother or sister. It helps you be a better mother, a better father. It helps you be a better employee, a better boss. It helps you learn better, because what exercise does is it increases your confidence. It increases your enthusiasm for each day. So this is a really good thing to hop in every day or every other day. I want you guys to try and do these every day or every other day. Just throughout the week. So this is going to be really good. And if you feel like it's too much in the amount of times that we're going to be doing them, just lower it a little bit. But as long as you're doing that every day, and especially starting your day off with it, it's going to make a huge difference in how your day goes. The first thing is our stretches, as always. We're going to go ahead and jump into our quadricep. That stretches your quad muscles. After 15 seconds of that, we'll jump in to our hamstring. That's going to stretch our leg muscles, as we discussed before. Then we'll jump into our calf raises. The calf raises you don't necessarily need to do as part of this stretch. You could just throw those in as an exercise, to be honest. But they do help stretch your calves as well. Next, we'll do our seated spinal twists. And then we'll move on to our triceps. That stretches those tricep muscles on your arms. Extremely helpful for the sword fighting. And then we'll also go into our seated shoulder squeezes. These ones are kind of, if you're feeling that pain in your shoulder area, you might want to do those. After we do our stretches, we'll jump into our exercises. You can do these in whatever order you like. I suggest varying them from one that takes a lot and gets your heart rate going, and then switching to one that's less of the work. So for example, jumping jacks. Maybe you want to do your jumping jacks and then switch from jumping jacks to maybe dead bug. And then from dead bug, maybe you go into push-ups. And then maybe from push-ups, you can take a little break and then go into The next thing I want to jump into, guys, we're going to be reviewing a lot of our basic stuff. So we're going to go into our zones of combat. I don't know if you remember these, but there are 3 zones of combat. The first one is the kill zone. The kill zone is within arm's length of your opponent. And don't forget to practice social distancing. Second zone is the neutral zone. Outside of arm's reach, but within reach of your weapon with them. And then from the neutral zone, we move out into the safe zone. The safe zone means you're essentially out of reach. It is possible to be in the safe zone and still be attacked by one specific attack. You guys remember what attack this is? The lunge. Because you can take that full step and completely stretch out when you do your lunge. After the zones of attack, we jump into the lines of attack. Only 3 different lines that you can follow with your attack. You got diagonal lines. So if we were to look at our silhouette of a person, we would essentially put an X. The connecting points of that X would be right about where their gut is. Then you go on to your vertical lines of attack. Vertical is up and down. So that can come straight down on the head, running through that X, or it can come up from underneath, like as if a thrust. Then you have your horizontal attacks. That's from side to side. Your horizontal attacks aren't usually thrusts. Your diagonals are almost always just cuts as well. And those cuts come down on the neck, slicing down into the gut, or coming up through the ribs, underneath, slicing up into the gut. And then the horizontal lines can actually rotate between any point. So it could be a cut from the side swinging into the head, the neck, the ribs. But the problem with those is that limbs kind of tend to get in the way of the horizontal cuts. One must never forget that vitals are the primary goal. Horizontal attacks are usually the weakest attacks. They're extremely easy to parry and block. Next, we're going to get into the guards. Now, there's a lot of different guards. There's a lot of different, you could say, fencing manuscripts, different schools that teach different guards. I like to follow Fior. Fior is an Italian swordmaster who wrote a manuscript a long time ago. It's between the German one and Fior. But I like to use Fior. Fior teaches that there's 12 guards that utilize with the sword. I've taught you several of these, but mainly focused on about 3. And they kind of cover the different ranges, which is your high, your mid, and your low. High guard would be the window guard. Now the window guard is kind of a deceptive guard. From here you can pull back and parry. It invites an attack because essentially you're showing your back in a way to your opponent. From the high guard you can move into your mid guard, which is the basic one I always teach people first. That's the short guard. So your short guard is your right foot forward stance. Your sword's held more center. So this is a really good position to be able to block from. Not as good for beating away your opponent's sword, but it can be good for entering a thrust and transitioning between other guards because you're already centered. You can go down into your low guard, which I've taught the main low guard to be the iron gate. Now, the name switches between half iron gate and full iron gate. The full iron gate is if you're left foot forward and your sword's pointing to the right side. This is I would say more of all used if your opponent is left hand dominant. So if they're attacking from your right side, if they're attacking in onto your right side, which would be if they're left-handed typically. Otherwise, use the half iron gate, which is right foot forward, and your sword points out to your left. And in this case, if somebody's right-handed, they're going to be coming into your left side. And this allows you to parry their attacks a lot better. Otherwise, those are the 3 main guards that we'll review, but there is many others, but we're not going to get into those. So now that we've practiced a few different things, you can always go back throughout the weeks and reference to each of these things. The last thing that I kind of wanted to go over was attacking. First of all, the zones. Knowing what zone that you are in when you're in a fight helps you determine what kind of attacks are going to be best in that zone. The safe zone, one of the only attacks that may be able to hit your opponent would be a lunge. As in the neutral zone, we know that people are within reach of your sword, but that can vary how close necessarily they are to your sword. A lot of times thrusts are actually going to be some of the strongest points in the neutral zone. Either the thrust, or you're going to have to pass forward into an attack to try to land that attack if you're going to be doing some kind of cut attack. You could also advance, which is where you're not necessarily stepping, but you're almost almost jumping forward a little bit, keeping your feet in the same rotation that they are. You may be attacked in the neutral zone, and you may transition by passing backwards or fading backwards into the safe zone to try to avoid an attack. Or you may transition from the neutral zone by attacking, or when you're being attacked, counterattacking by passing forward or advancing forward into the kill zone. And when you're in the kill zone, I call it the kill zone because it's extremely dangerous. Once when you're in the kill zone, it's almost guaranteed that that round is about to end. Someone is going to make the first strike, or someone is going to make a strike in the kill zone. So when you're in the kill zone, you're either transitioning, making your hit, missing your hit, or entering the bind. And that bind is where you lock your swords together. And that's a great opportunity to go into your half swording, which is where you slide your hand up on your blade and you can use the leverage to push down and break your opponent's guard. Otherwise, you're going to be pushing out of the bind. Your options in the kill zone are many, but typically they end like that. So the kill zone, you need to be ready. Second thing is to analyze guards. Analyze what guard your opponent is taking. Is their guard high? Is their guard mid? Is their guard low? Are they taking more a defensive guard where they're looking for you to attack them? Or are they taking more an offensive guard where they may attack you? The fight really begins in the mind. Based on those things, you can choose what best guard you should take. The last thing is practicing your attacks. And you know what they say. Practice is a waste of time. No! Practice makes perfect. The best way to practice, think about the attack you want to do. Imagine or have somebody do this with you. Have them take a guard, and you can practice passing forward in the attack, or not passing forward and trying the attack. Figure out your ranges by practicing these things. Practice each attack. Practice the accuracy of the attack. So you know in your head, you've got the muscle memory of what you need to do for those attacks. So that's going to summarize our lesson for this week. Next week, we'll get more into spear fighting. We'll see you next week, and thanks for watching.